I don't feel comfortable. That's a phrase that we hear many times in the world, with amongst our friends and the people we know. But is that phrase always right? Is it okay to always use I don't feel comfortable as a way to get out of things? Well, let me tell you a story. I was forming a group of guys and girls who were working together some time ago, and they were all invested. They were spending their time. They were all hyped and pumped up about doing something together. And so somebody had the idea of setting up a group chat in an app where we were always talking to each other and communicating to see how we were going to bring this about. And somebody said, hey, you know what? I don't feel comfortable with being in this chat. It's kind of like too personal, too close, too intimate. And you think, wow, all these people are spending their time, but somebody has this idea that they don't feel comfortable with it. So a few considerations. What could be happening in this? Could it be that maybe I'm falling into an excessive fragility? Could it be maybe that I could ask myself if it's okay to use the I'm not comfortable card to not be part of an effort to do something good? Could it be maybe that we're falling into something that I see very often in our society, which is that certain phrases are thrown in there to put up a wall and live from my whims and my feelings? That could also be possible. Of course, there are things in which it's legitimate to say, you know what, I thought about it and I don't feel comfortable with this, because there are things that are uncomfortable that you're not obliged to do. The problem is when we start using these phrases as a way to just get stuck in my own ways and not be able to collaborate and cooperate with others. Hey, let me ask you a question. What is virtue? St. Ignatius of Loyola used to talk about the fact that many times you and I, when we're working with people or in life, you have to give what he used to call the magis, the more, right? Where you have to come out of yourself and use virtue. I sometimes get the feeling that those of us who have the grace, the privilege to live in countries that are developed, in first world countries, we forget the efforts and the things that people have to go through in other countries. And we become like these sort of prima donnas, first world problems, where it's setting up walls with language, such as I don't feel comfortable, and where we fall into just living out of our whims and our feelings. Jonathan Haidt, psychologist from the University of NYU, says in his book, The Coddling of the American Mind, that we're living in a time in which we throw out phrases that keep us in our comfort zone. And he says, a lot of people live like, hey, always trust your feelings. Don't even question them. There could be always a question of, is this correct? I'm not comfortable. So what does a human being tend to? Like you, when you get up in the morning, if you don't live with virtue, do you tend to discipline or do you tend to sloth and laziness? Well, I'll tell you my experience. If I don't get up when I hear the alarm, and then I take advantage of my day, I make good use of my time. If I don't work virtuously, if I don't live virtuously, I will fall into contempt and laziness. So here are two things that we can all do to not live in this I'm not comfortable attitude, which really impacts the lives of others. One is, why don't you ask a friend, hey, do I ever abuse of phrases such as I don't feel comfortable in a way that I'm not collaborating with you? And the second is, consider that magis, that discipline, that strength, the living of virtue, which conquers a lot of things in our lives. This is Father Jorge. God bless you.